Yo, what the fuck is really going on YouTube? It's your boy J Dub back on your screen again. Yo, we got some interesting topics such as Big Pharma, and just food, our food supply, things like that. YouTube, everything is scripted and for entertainment purposes only. Everything I'm doing here is fake. So, yo, let's get right into it. Hey, yo, cheers to my followers. Let's get right into it, bruh.
Pharmaceutical industry controls the world. Medical journals have become information laundering machines for the pharmaceutical industry. Pharmaceutical
Yeah,
industry
boy.
will roll out a new drug. Let's say they do 100 tests on the drug. 98 of the tests show a negative result. 2 show a positive result. It's only the 2 that show the positive results that get published. It's a direct reflection of corruption.
Around the same time that John D.
Corruption.
Rockefeller seized U.S. media, he also hijacked U.S. medicine. When it was discovered that drugs could be produced from petroleum,
Look.
America's top oil
I'm going to learn you a little something, as they say here in the state of Tennessee. I'm going to learn you a little something, okay? We're going to sit here, we're going to learn today, together. Me and you, we in this. Let's learn.
ordered his army of propagandists to invert reality accordingly. Medicines used for thousands of years were suddenly classified as alternative, while the new, petroleum-based, highly addictive, and patentable drugs were declared the gold standard. After buying a German pharmaceutical company that manufactured chemicals of war for Adolf Hitler, Rockefeller leveraged his political influence by pressing Congress to declare natural healing modalities unscientific quackery. Rockefeller then took control of the American Medical Association and began offering massive grants to top medical schools under the mandate that only his approved curriculum be taught. Any mention of the healing powers of herbs, plants, and diet was erased from most medical textbooks. Doctors and professors who objected to Rockefeller's plan were crucified by the media, removed from the AMA, and stripped of their license to teach and practice medicine. Those who dared to speak out were arrested and jailed. When evidence began to emerge that petroleum-based medicines were causing cancer, Mr. Rockefeller founded the American Cancer Society, through which he suppressed that information. John D.
Hey, now.
Rockefeller is duly credited as the founder of the pharmaceutical industry, and the reason that medical error is currently the third leading cause of death in America. This is not an indictment against doctors. More than anyone,
And
they
that
are under the
will be
stranglehold of the
mentioned
single largest lobbying
numerous
power in
times in
Washington.
this entire video.
Every year, the
Not just this
pharmaceutical
clip,
industry
this
spends at
entire
least
video.
twice the amount as big oil to influence laws, policies, and public perception. Thanks to Mr. Rockefeller, the architect of American monopolies, no industry has more power over our lives than Big Pharma.
The human body knows how to fix itself. The human body wants to fix itself. The human body is attempting to fix itself all of the time. So naturopathic therapeutics intend to support and promote the body's natural, built-in, God-given ability to fix itself.
AMA joined with strong financial forces to transform medicine into an industry. The fortunes of Carnegie, Morgan,
You hear that? They did what they could to make sure that pharmaceutical became an industry.
and Rockefeller financed surgery, radiation, and synthetic drugs. They were to become
Look,
the
what
economic...
you gotta understand is, people, we are not a mass-produced thing. We are accustomed to ourselves. Yes, there are some things that works on all of us, but everybody's body is different. But y'all are going out here getting these mass-produced pharmaceutical drugs that's just made to treat a problem. It's not made to cure you. That's what the whole ayahuasca thing and all that's for. Is because when a shaman goes and he wants to heal whatever it is that you need healed, he needs to know what you need, not what everybody in your tribe needs. No, he is making a medicine specifically based on your needs. It looks like they're doing that here when you go to the doctor and they give you a fucking CAT scan and blah, 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 blah. But they're giving you all the same medicine. I literally don't know a single person that has went to therapy and came out not being diagnosed with depression. And they try to give you something for it. Get out of here.
Foundations of the new medical economy.
The pharmaceutical industry first gained control of the teaching system. Then it gave the AMA the power to exclude all other doctors from practicing. Then it took over the entire drug testing process, while heavily influencing the medical publications that reviewed those drugs. And finally, Big Pharma extended its control over the federal entity that is supposed to verify those drugs' safety and efficacy. At the opposite end are the sick citizens, and in the middle are the doctors who must cure them based on information they can only get from the pharmaceutical industry, which can no longer be verified.
Because
it's funny because those of us with medical experience, we know we're not going to get the glory for it. If I tell you change your oil, all your stuff on your car, and your car never breaks down, you never realize. You think, okay, I just drive my car forever and like your Bob. But the problem is we can do great procedures on it, but wouldn't it be better to avoid those procedures in the first place if you have control over it? There's no bonus for preventive medicine. So if I take someone off insulin, they all go, you know what? We're looking at how much that person would have cost us down the road. And that's part of the reason I left the standard model is because of that. I said, do you realize how much money I'm saving you? Brian, do you know how much money you're costing us? We get reimbursed more by the government the sicker the patient gets. That's a...
Did you hear what he just said? They get paid even more when the patient is sicker. Come on now. So, you mean to tell me if your industry was making billions off of people having to come back and refill their prescriptions and get more prescriptions, and if that's where you make your money, are you going to make a cure? Are you going to come up with a cure to put yourself out of business? Hell nah. Hell nah. They just going to put you on more medicine and more medicine and more medicine.
Crazy thought. That's why I can't practice medicine with you.
You see, the insurance companies are the polar opposite of Google and Facebook. They collect voluminous amounts of information, but they don't share that information back with anyone. If they did, it would upend modern medicine and healthcare in a way that would be so profound that it would take our medical system back about 45 years. I was allowed to see your medical records, all of your demographic data. I was allowed to see your genetic data, but I was not allowed to have any contact with the patient or any contact with the treating physician. So even if I saw life-threatening drug interactions, I couldn't warn the patient. Just really quick, does anyone know what the third leading cause of death is in the United States? So the leading cause of death is cardiovascular disease, the second is cancer, but the third leading cause of death in this country is modern medicine. It's astounding when you think about that. If you want to look up the clinical study, it was done by Harvard in 2016. It was repeated by Johns Hopkins in April 2019, and that study got worse, so they published the Harvard study and retired the Johns Hopkins study. If you sold security systems, but you were the third leading cause of home invasion, how well do you think your business would be doing? But this is where we go for information on optimal health. I began to realize that I was brainwashed.
Leading cause of bankruptcy in the United States? Medical bill. Chronic disease is getting worse. Alzheimer's has skyrocketed. Autism has skyrocketed. Type 2 diabetes is getting worse. They don't prevent the illness from happening. The cost of asthma in the United States, $80 billion a year. The medical industry profits $80 billion a year, not curing asthma, not having any idea what causes asthma, not being able to prevent asthma. This type of medical mediocrity is what we've all become used to.
You've cured everything that was wrong with me.
Let me bring in Gary. What have you done to Dana to make him so enthusiastic and to, in his eyes, prolong his life?
So he went on a strict keto diet. He had a strict exercise and workout routine. We also started to use modalities that you can access for free in nature, but he actually bought equipment. And before everybody jumps on me for saying that you have to buy all this expensive equipment, you can get the same effect by taking your shoes off and grounding on the surface of the earth, learning to do breath work, and exposing your skin to sunlight. So he did magnetism, oxygen, and light with a PMF mat, oxygen, and a red light bed. And he went on a strict 10-week keto reset diet.
It's fascinating.
This is the gentleman from Kentucky.
Look, you want to get healthy? You don't need medicine. Change your diet. 90% of what's wrong with you probably is your diet. I'm not saying that all medicine's bad, but most of the time, just change your fucking diet.
Support of my amendment, which states that none of the funds made available by this act may be used to fund any grant related to any transgenic edible vaccine. Does the term transgenic edible vaccine sound far-fetched? Well, it's not. We're funding it. In fact, scientists from the University of California, Riverside, funded with your taxpayer dollars, have been studying whether they can turn edible plants, such as lettuce and spinach, into mRNA vaccine factories, thereby creating a transgenic edible vaccine. One associate professor at UCR explained that ideally a single plant would produce enough mRNA to vaccinate a single person. We are testing this approach with spinach and lettuce and have long-term goals of people growing it in their own gardens. Farmers could also eventually grow entire fields of it. I don't think this is a good idea. I don't think the American people should be funding this. And I think, and I would hope, that we've learned something from...
Shit, we already broke enough. What the hell is we funding? We can, look, we broke as hell out here in these streets as a mass. Most people can only afford to eat the lettuce with no dressing on it. We gotta sprinkle some goddamn, we can't afford sugar no more. We gotta put a little dirt on that motherfucker to add some crunch, some more crunch to it, some texture from the earth. But they wanna do experiments on the only shit that a lot of people can afford, bro? That's crazy as hell.
The COVID experience with SARS-CoV-2, that some of our science projects aren't the best ideas. And with that, I reserve.
Gentleman from Kentucky is recognized.
Well, my colleague on the other side of the aisle talks about keeping prices low. I think there's more to it than that for the American people. And he also speaks as if these vaccines, these transgenic edible plant vaccines, are only used for livestock. Well, in fact, they have been used for livestock. I'll get to that in a second. But they're also being used for people. That is the intended outcome of many of these programs that we are funding with money from the USDA.
Is it just a conspiracy, or are they really having a conference on this? Y'all let me know.
What could possibly go wrong with this research? Well, we found out a few years ago when a biotech company was experimenting, growing in corn a vaccine to keep pigs from getting diarrhea. What happened? Well, the next year where the corn was grown, the prior year, the corn came up. And it got commingled with soybeans that were being grown there. It contaminated 500 bushels of soybeans, which were then commingled with 500,000 bushels of soybeans. And those all had to be recalled and destroyed. Luckily, they caught it. Do we want humans eating vaccines that were grown in corn meant to stop pigs from getting diarrhea? I don't think we want that to happen. Yet that almost happened, and it could happen. There's another case contaminated another crop of corn, and 155 acres of corn had to be burned. What are the cases where we're not discovering this? I think it's dangerous to play God with our food. I think we need a safe food supply. And this is about food safety. Ultimately, the people in this country need to know what's in their food. And if we start contaminating the DNA of our food with DNA from other animals or viruses, the pollen could spread, and we don't know what could happen. And I would hope we've learned a lesson from the Wuhan lab that sometimes things escape. Sometimes things don't go as you plan.
People don't care what's in their food anymore. I lived my whole life not giving a shit what's in my food. But here lately, I don't know if it's coming with age or what's going on, but here lately, I have been switching up my diet, and I feel better. I actually feel better. So, like, people do deserve to know exactly what they're putting in their body, not just some little list of things that you don't know anything about. Yeah, they can give you a list of stuff that they put in there, but the amount of research that you got to do to find out what exactly one of the chemicals that they have made to put into that food is crazy. You might as well go to school for it. And honestly, be real about it. If you're going to go to school, like, I know you can just go to school for it, but, like, if you're going to go to school for just what you're putting in your mouth or what you're putting in your stomach or in your body, then how are you going to have time to go to school for something that you need to work for or work towards? It doesn't make any sense. But here we are every day shoveling stuff that we have no clue what it is in our mouths.
And so that's why I think it's a bad idea to fund transgenic edible plant vaccine research from the USDA. I urge adoption of my amendment, and I yield back the balance of my time.
The question is on the amendment offered by the gentleman from Kentucky. Those in favor say aye. Those opposed say no. In the opinion of the chair, the ayes have it. The amendment is agreed.
One of them fake ass watermelons. That motherfucker already cut into 3 pieces.
All right.
This is.
I want you to see.
One of them fake ass watermelons.
And
that motherfucker already cut into 3 pieces.
This is weird. Look,
that shit. Oh, that shit booty. That whole seedless, that bitch don't even feel right.
This shit is weird.
It's squishy.
Oh shit.
The outside of the watermelon was.
That motherfucker soft.
Look at that. I mean, that's not abnormal.
The motherfucker broke.
Broke his watermelon.
And so nobody's bullshit from Walmart.
It's burning my cut. That's weird.
Shit. Fake ass Walmart motherfucking melons.
This cut so through so easily.
Look at this shit.
People can take those chemicals and put it in dog manure and make it taste like chicken McNuggets. Right now, we could drink strawberry soda, artificially flavored, and we read the ingredients on the can. We're not going to find strawberries as an ingredient, but it smells like strawberry and it tastes like strawberry. Why? The chemicals. The chemical
Okay, so I like to point out the real in things, and I am a conspiracy theorist, but at the same time, he ended that sentence with artificially flavored. So if you see on the can artificially flavored, then why would you expect strawberry to be on the can? It tells you straight on the can that it's artificially flavored. Now, if they didn't tell you that it was artificially flavored and you don't find strawberry on that can, then I would say it's a problem. But you said it yourself, artificially flavored, which means it is flavored by artificial flavoring, which means fake. Sorry. You just gotta learn to read between the lines. I'm not saying everything is fucking correct and that our food supply is good, but at the same time, if they put artificial flavoring on the can, then I feel like you should expect it not to have real strawberry.
The chemicals. The chemical capital is in New Jersey. Chemicals for your ice cream, for your burgers, your cakes, for everything. These people can take those chemicals and put it in dog manure and make it taste like chicken McNuggets. These people can take those chemicals and put it in dog manure.
See what I'm saying? It's all chemicals, bro. That's all we're eating. It's just straight chemicals from everywhere. Can you just imagine the amount of different chemicals you put in your body every single day? You wake up in the morning. If you eat breakfast, you get something. The amount of chemicals that are in the cereal that you eat, or the seasoning that you put in your eggs, or the cream cheese that you put in your bagel, on your bagel. Okay, then you go on to lunchtime. Say you're at work, you go out to eat. Just imagine the amount of preservatives and chemicals in that food. Then you probably gonna get a snack. And then you're probably gonna eat dinner. And then you'll probably eat dessert. Think about it. You're probably putting over 300 chemicals in your body a day. Why they don't teach you all those chemical names that's in the food that you're eating in school? Because in order to know exactly what is in that food, you'd have to go to school for it. You know why? Because that's another angle of the almighty dollar. Now you got to go to school to learn what's on the back of your chips. Does that make sense to you? Doesn't make sense to me. Yo, that's all I got for you today. I'm probably about to shoot another video, so stay in tune. I got another one coming for you soon.